Welcome back to Hermitcraft. Today I want to start things off by saying thank you so much for the response to the previous Hermitcraft episode. It's quite possibly the best response I've ever received to a Hermitcraft episode. I really didn't know how that one was going to go down. I thought a small number of people would find it incredibly interesting and everyone else would be quite bored. I mean, I spent most of the episode just fiddling about with lighting and composition and geeking out in Lightroom, but the response has been fantastic. It's been so lovely. I was reading all the comments and honestly, it was making me a little bit emotional. I don't think there's anything more rewarding than putting something out into the world that you've enjoyed creating and seeing other people enjoying it. So in today's Hermitcraft episode, we're going to bring those paintings into the world. But before we do, I have changed two of the paintings. One of them is the picture of Wells's base. I just don't think I quite managed to do it justice. So this is the new picture, and I think it's come together really, really nicely. You get the shape of the temple. This bridge here is providing a nice sort of leading line, and it focuses the eye towards the temple. We get some of the cherry blossoms as well. The clouds look nice. Really happy with this one. It also no longer puts this B-Dub's face on the third, which was it's really not noticeable. You really can't tell that there's a sort of face shape in the build until you make it the subject of the photo, and then the face becomes clear. And I'm sorry, Wells, but now I can't look at your base without seeing that. Now, the other photo that I changed is actually the one that I took of Zombie Cleo's base, which may seem surprising because I was actually really, really happy with that photo and still am. I think it was cool. It just felt a tiny bit unbalanced. I also took the screenshot from somewhere fairly high up. It was kind of like here-ish, and I don't know, I always find that a slightly awkward angle for builds and things. I tend to prefer to take them from like a human perspective, from sort of down low. So this is the new photo, and you can see it is incredibly dramatic, right? It's about as dramatic as it gets. We've got the sun in the background, backlighting everything. We've got the trees in the foreground that are silhouetted, and that gives a good sense of scale for the base itself. And you are losing some of the detail, right? Like, some of this base is silhouetted and there's a lot of haze, but this is capturing a feeling. Whereas if I go to the original photo, I just don't think it does it justice. Like, it does do a really good job at showing you what Cleo's base looks like. It's almost like a scientific recording of what Cleo's base looks like. But this is what Cleo's base feels like, and that is more important to me. So now it's time to do some testing. So I've just changed two of the paintings in the vanilla Minecraft resource pack to the picture of Corralis's base, and the first one that I want to try is the 4x2. Oh my goodness, that's actually worked out so well. Oh my goodness. Wow, that actually feels like a window. That's crazy. That's actually crazy. That's actually really shocked me. I'm like speechless with that, and I really like this sort of setup. This is the sort of setup that I want to have inside the little museum that we're building here. Just out of pure curiosity, what does it look like if I do the 2x1? Okay, yeah, no. So the 2x1, it's too small, and also I think the resolution is a bit too high for one of that size. It doesn't actually feel Minecrafty anymore, whereas this is higher resolution than the rest of Minecraft, but it still feels right, and oh my goodness, has that worked out. Wow, you can really feel it. You can really feel it. It's actually coming through. I wasn't sure if you were still going to get like the warmth that comes through in this picture when I placed it down in Minecraft. I don't know why it would change. I don't know why it would feel any different, but I thought it might, but it doesn't. If anything, it feels amplified by being in this environment. Oh, and at night as well, it looks lovely too. Cool, I am so happy with this. People who know what they're doing are currently adding these to the Hermitcraft server resource pack. And now it's time to start getting inspiration for building an art gallery. I've stumbled upon some really good interior inspiration from a music video. I love this grid light up at the top here, and I think we can do something like that. This is also very cool from a Spotify commercial. I think this could work. Now, I thought I would do a little bit of experimentation in a creative mode testing world before I actually build this on the server, just to get a feel for things. And one thing that I was struggling with is the grandness of the inspirational photos. I kind of don't want this to feel like a super grand art gallery. I want it to feel more like a slightly more industrial one, I suppose. So I've taken some of the shape cues that we found in the inspiration, but instead I've started adding some industrial touches. Like we've got this like bright yellow paint. I think back here I want to have some cabling, and there's going to be like ducts and pipes going across the ceiling, and all of the paintings are going to be hanging from chains from the ceiling. I am just starting to realize, by the way, how massive this place is going to be. Yeah. Wait, what the heck? I've just started work on some ceiling bits, and I've started adding all sorts of dangly bits as well. I've been looking at pictures of the Tate Modern in London, and I seem to be matching the vibe quite well. That place is super brutalist and super industrial. Turns out it used to be a power station. I clearly just love power stations. Huh. I don't know if I'm going crazy, but I actually think having this really bright yellow, as much as I think it makes the build look cooler and more industrial, actually makes the painting feel much less vibrant. Wow. No, that's a big difference. The warmth has been removed by the excess warmth of the pillars. Okay, there must be something I can do here. I've tried moving the concrete upwards, and I kind of think it's interesting. I've also put some bits and rivets down at the bottom, which I do think works. So now I'm just going to get a feel for it at full scale. Okay, well, immediately this looks cool. I'm trying to decide if we go 3 across and then across like this, or we have a more tunnel-like build. I mean, this is a pretty cool environment here. But I gotta say, having all this depth and getting all the stuff stacking up on the ceiling, it definitely amplifies the industrialness. So we've got 6 paintings on display here, and we have a total of, I think, 28 pictures. That means there's going to be 5 of these going across. Wow. Now, I did kind of want to add a little walkway in between each one of the sets of paintings as well, so you can easily maneuver around, but that is going to make this significantly bigger. Goodness gracious me. This is enormous. This is huge. Okay, this is super, super big. It's kind of cool. Oh, it is kind of cool, isn't it? I mean, it is really, really cool. What is this exterior going to be like? Oh my goodness, this is massive. Where am I going to put this? This is meant to go in the shopping district. I'm also slightly concerned that things appear to be spawning in it. I keep doing the maths thinking that I've miscalculated, but no, there are 5 paintings per row, which means that there are 10 paintings in each one of the sections. That means that we have got space for 30 paintings, which is a little bit more than we actually do have, but it does leave us room, say for example, for like a coffee shop or something, which could be quite funny, or even like a gift shop maybe. I mean, now that I've multiplied this, it definitely does feel very industrial, which is good. It does feel like we've repurposed an old factory or something like that, which is fantastic. I did not realize phantoms spawned in creative mode. That is so weird. Where the heck do I put this, and what the heck do I do with the exterior? I'm also starting to think, I don't know if I want line of sight to other paintings. Look at this. If you imagine I'm looking at this painting here, but in the corner of my eye, I can see all the future paintings that I'm going to look through. Ooh. Now that I think about it, when I go to art galleries and things like that, there's kind of like a push and a pull, right? There's like you walk into big, expansive spaces, and then you go through into a smaller space with like 1 or 2 paintings in it. I'm deep in the weeds now. I'm deep in the weeds. But look at this. Look, I'm doing something right. Oh, yeah. I'm getting circulation diagrams. Oh, it is time to create a floor plan. Never in my wildest dreams did I think when I started my YouTube channel in 2012, I would be at nearly 10 million subscribers creating riveting content out of floor plans. In fact, actually, that's exactly what 16-year-old me would think 30-year-olds would be making videos about. Oh no! Let's get this party started. You have no idea how long this has taken me. I put so much effort into this. Please allow me to run you through this system, alright? So I've got my little path here. We come in through the entrance, then we go through what I'm referring to as the sunset room, where we've got Corrales' picture. Then we have the atmosphere, which is going to be quite large and cavernous, and this is all of the pictures that I feel are like excessive in their atmosphere, their fogginess. I've tried my best to gradually gradient them from the greys into the more sunsetty colors, because then we're moving into the temples room, which you'll be able to see Cleo's temple through this door right here. So that transition was important to me. You can see all of these here. Then we pop through into the Moody room, which has got the Scar triplet. And then we come through into the Details room, which is sort of like a slalom. And the reason I did that is because the Details room relies on you being up close and personal to the pictures, so this forces you to walk quite near to them. Next up, we've got the Room of Whimsy. These are all the whimsical builds that I can think of course, Joel's being arguably the most whimsical. And then we go into the Realism room, which are the two pictures that look the most like real life. Then we curve our way up into the Dark room, two of the moodier bases. Drop it down into the Through the Trees room with myself and Grian. I just like this combination, the two sets of trees in both of the pictures. And then finally, we pop through into the Gollum room. This is my favorite picture, so I wanted it to stand alone and almost act as a bit of a finale to the entire exhibition, as it were. Yeah, I am going to use the words exhibition. So there it is. This is the plan for the gallery. I think this is much better than the original idea. This flows really nicely. So now it's time to build it on the Hermitcraft server. It is now 3 days later, and I've run into a bit of a problem. Oh, it appears that my trapdoors are spinning. When I modified my custom Mumbo painting pack, I wasn't sure what other custom paintings were in it. Now I found the answer. In case you're wondering what you're currently looking at, this is actually Joe Hills' shop of alphabetized human bones, I believe. It's definitely unique. I mean, it's a bone shop, but like, this must have been a lot of effort. Like this must have taken a really long time. So as I say, it is now 3 days later, and I have had a little bit of trouble. You see, I don't entirely know where this build is going to go. That's kind of one thing. I mean, it's going to be pretty large, right? Like, it's massive. But that's fine. We have plenty of space. Like, this area back here does look relatively promising. The problem that I'm having is a vibe-based problem. I keep coming back to the build itself, and I don't know. I don't know if I'm feeling it. I've started building out the layout. Like, this is the atmosphere room, then there'd be rooms here, and then I've been building all of the other rooms. So I think this is where B-Dubs and Pearl's paintings would go. Then this would be the dark room. This is where mine and Grian's paintings would go, and then this is where Exuma's painting would go. So I've started doing the layout, and like, the flow is nice. The flow is good. I just think the vibe is not quite it. Honestly, the more I spend time here, the more it feels a little bit scary. Feels like I'm about to get murdered. And you know, I've spent a lot of time in hip and trendy spaces. I've been to a lot of brutalist areas, and I've spent a lot of time in converted factories, but I've never really felt like I'm going to have my organs removed, and that's what this place feels like. The one saving grace is I'm incredibly glad we didn't go for this, because this is making my skin itch. So I think it's time we go back to the drawing board a little bit and get this right. I'm just looking at the interior of the V&A museum here, and I think this is a pretty cool mix of both incredibly grand and then also some modernness and everything in between. And before anyone shouts at me down in the comment section, I know that these are all different V&A museums, but what I'm saying is I think we can find the middle ground here. Okay, immediately things are feeling cooler and much nicer. We have got one room. This feels really lovely. It's also a lot more compact than the first one. Like, because of the whole chained up hanging situation, you need a lot of space between all of the paintings, which made all of the rooms pretty massive. I genuinely don't like being here. Now, don't get me wrong, I do plan on doing all sorts of texturing and things like that with the floor, but I'm not going to do that for this test. Now, ceilings are something that I always struggle with my builds, but one thing that I've noticed from a lot of the art gallery references are these beautiful curving ceilings, and I'm trying my best to do that here, and I think it feels pretty good. I like the height that we have going on. I kind of want sky coming in, though. I'm going to deeply regret the number of shelves that I'm currently placing. Oh, okay. Does that give the impression of a big light box? I kind of think it does. What I'm trying to achieve here is this sort of feeling, or this sort of feeling, or this sort of feeling. And I definitely think it's getting there. Can I be a chandelier designer? That is the big question. I mean, I think that gives the impression of a big fancy light. And now that we have 2 of them, this room is feeling extremely, extremely grand. And while I've been building this, I've been psychoanalyzing myself a little bit, and I've realized something. I think the reason why I wanted to put my pictures in a build like this is partly because buildings like this do tend to be cool. Converted art spaces in old industrial factories are cool. But I think the main thing is that building a super grand and super fancy art gallery to present your own work feels a little bit, I don't know how to say this, big-headed, you know? But I'm really proud of the pictures that I took, and I really want them to be in a cool setting, and I think this is working. This is also my first build of this type in a very, very long time, and I really like how it's come together. It's also kind of cool building something interior first. I genuinely have no idea how I'm going to do the exterior, but we'll come onto that later. I definitely think this should be an armor stand heavy build as well. I've just had a little security guard. I've also added some security touches here, and I do think it improves things. I tried to come up with a cool way to do a security camera, but nothing I could create really worked. Let's move on to the next room. If we take a look at our floor plan, we've got the temple room next. I'm really liking the way that this pink terracotta goes with the paintings. I think this works as like an art gallery color. Oh, I also did this. I'm not sure how I feel about it. This is my best attempt at making that naked David fella, by the way. I'm clearly getting distracted. And the reason that I'm distracting myself is because I realized that I've centered this room on 1 block, but all of my paintings are 4 blocks wide, which means if I want any sight lines, well, it's going to look weird. So I've increased the width of our initial room. The thing I was worried about was the chandeliers, but they're actually looking good. And that means we can also get stuff like this going on, which looks so good. So I've put a little bit more work into this room here. I've built up a nice light feature which feels very museum-esque. I've also started messing around with all the different things that I can put into the rooms that makes them feel more proper. Like with this being the temple room, it is going to be filled with pictures of temples on the Hermitcraft server, but it makes sense that we would then also have artifacts taken from temples. Things like clothing, pots, and maybe even things like the brush. I could just put a brush in an item frame and present it as a tool. One other idea that I had, which is fairly obvious, is to include other small paintings inside the gallery, just to add some variation to the size of the paintings, but also to bring more paintings in. I really, really like this room, so now let's move on to the next one. If we go back to our floor plan, that is the Moody room, aka the room that is Scars. Now, for this one, I feel like I should lean in to all of the greys and everything like that, so I've put this nice tiled floor in, which is pretty cool. We've got all of the cyan terracotta. I am seriously, seriously enjoying how all of these rooms flow into one another. I really don't know how I'm going to do the roof of this one, though. This one feels like it should be quite a close room. Like, this should feel small, but then I kind of wanted it to feel different from this one, so I've done like a hybrid of small and tall, right? Like, the actual ceiling itself is a little bit lower than this one, but then it does go up further. There's a little bit more depth, and I just feel like this suits the artwork that's going in here, because this is going to be very space age. All of Scar's photos have a lot of atmosphere, and I kind of wanted the room to replicate that, which I think it does. So now let's move on to the next one, which, if we go back to the floor plan, is this slalom details room. And this should definitely feel really tight and really close. Don't worry, by the way, when I build this on the Hermitcraft server, these end rods are going to be the correct way round. I just can't be bothered to do all of the placing. The detail room slalom is coming together. I really like this foresty green. I kind of want to paint my walls this color in real life. Now, because this is the detail room, I kind of like the idea that there'll be loads of items dotted around that you can take a closer look at. Maybe something like this, like really up the density of artworks in this area. Ooh, I like this. Oh, I like this. This is actually starting to feel like a really cozy little space. This might be one of my favorite little areas that we're forming here. I am a big fan of these lights. I really, really like these. I think one thing that I could do to improve it potentially is to add some detail to the ceiling above it. Maybe, but also maybe not. I think I preferred it before. This is significantly better. Wow, that looks lovely. This feels really, really cozy. Yeah, and this one is much, much nicer than this one. Okay, good choice. So now I would say this room is all done. We get a really good look at all of the pictures as we go past. And now we go into this room. Let's just get a quick refresher for the entire gallery experience. Everything is feeling really, really nice and really fluid. We've kind of gone down from being in a big, open, bright space into darker rooms. So I think now to get the contrast, we should go back to bigness. Ooh, but then again, this room sort of mirrors this room. So I feel like we can kind of get the scale back of this one and then almost replicate this room with this room. A bit like what I tried and failed to do over in this area here. Wow, I know I've said this a bunch, but I'm so glad we didn't go for this one. Now, with the Room of Whimsy, as it's called, there is quite a high density of pictures. And I feel like this room is quite small. To house 4, I also really don't want it to feel like a full-blown corridor. So I need to think of something that will make this room stand out. Okay, well, first things first, really like the ceiling of this one. In fact, I really like the entirety of this room. I tried my best to build some sculptures in the middle. This is the last one that I've left. This was the best one. So that should give you some idea to the quality of my other ones. I'm a photographer. I work in the 2D, definitely not the 3D. But having fiddled about with the floor a little bit, I actually do quite like the idea of some kind of texture going on down here. I'm not sure. I'm definitely not sure on the spore blossoms. They feel a little bit heavy-handed. I'm not sure on this. It feels a little bit distracting. It almost gets in the way of the sight lines that you want for the pictures. I honestly think if I just put a bench in the middle here, that probably feels better. And then the next doorway is going to be off in this area, so that will give a natural focus to the room, and we can get some bits and pieces on that wall there too. I actually think this feels quite nice. Yeah, I really like this. For some reason, it feels like a movie set. I think it's just a big soft top light. Now, I thought I could be cheeky with the next room and build it in exactly the same style as this room over here, but it turns out I can't. I kind of wanted to subdivide the room into different sections because on the face of it, these are the same size, but it feels weird. It feels wrong. I do want the space to feel tall, but I don't want it to feel like that. Ooh, with that being said though, there is something quite nice about these two rooms connecting up. Like, these two rooms connecting up, this makes it feel like a proper gallery. So I've decided to sit with that a little bit, and I've decided to keep trying here, and I think this is actually working. Again, I really like the push and pull of having this sort of small, cozy space, and then gradually it gets a little bit larger, and then we pop through here and suddenly scale. And given this is one of the final rooms of the gallery, I think it's important that we finish on a grand note. Yes, this scale is perfect. This scale is getting there. I also really like the subtleness of these rooms. Like, in theory, this was meant to be a room. This was meant to be the realism room, and then this is the darker room. But I actually quite like how open it feels. It also makes me think that I should switch the dark photos with these ones, because I can see both these and these. I think these feel tonally very similar, and then we'll go down into the dark area and then pop through into the golem photo. Just imagining those 4 photos lining up like this, that gets me very excited. Now, I've done a little bit more. We've got the setup for the 2 dark paintings, which can go right next to one another because tonally they are so similar. I think it will look really good. I also like that the way this room is set out sort of forces you to take a distant look at the paintings first, and then you'll have to walk up to them to properly see them. Very, very cool. And then finally, peeking through this gap right here, I want to have the golem. And I've been spending a little bit of time thinking about how I'm going to do that while finishing off this room. I've done the chandeliers. The roof has been extended as well. I like this. This might just be one of my favorite rooms, which is good because it is the biggest. But now, again, I'm shrinking things down for this room, because this is a room dedicated to this one picture, the golem picture, which I really like. It was a real happy accident, and it is just so Minecrafty. So I really want to present it well, and I like the way that the door frames the picture. Again, you sort of view it from a distance and then approach. I'm intentionally making this room incredibly Minecrafty as well. We've got the logs in the corners. I've kept it quite dark too, so you kind of focus in just on the picture. I would say I am pretty happy with how this has come together. Part of me wants to add things in the corners. Like there was a brief moment where I was putting copper golems up on the walls and stuff, maybe sitting on the shelves, and it is cool. Like, it is a cool detail, but I don't know. I kind of want this one to sit on its own. I quite like going from this big space with quite a lot of things in it into just a room with a single painting, with just a single door to exit, which actually, I think the door adds quite a lot. Like, weirdly enough, I actually do like this. I think that works out quite nicely. And then we pop through into the entrance area. My goodness, this was an enormous project. This, I've never thought so much about floor plans and layouts, and to be honest with you, Minecraft interiors in general. I am not a Minecraft interior person. So this has used basically every part of my brain to get finished, but I have to say, I am really, really happy with how everything's come together. It all flows really nicely. I think I've given all of the paintings the correct amount of weight. Like, you want to stop and look at them, and the layout sort of forces you to look at them. The building itself takes you on a little journey, and it sets you up for what's coming next. There's big grand rooms and small cozy rooms. It kind of mirrors the builds on the server, and it mirrors the photos of the builds on the server. A lot of people said that my previous Hermitcraft episode was a love letter to Hermitcraft. I would say this art gallery is like printing that love letter on really nice paper. I think the thought and effort that I've put into this will be noticed by the Hermits and will be appreciated. I can't wait to see their reactions to this build and the paintings themselves. Which reminds me, I just got a message from one of the admins of the Hermitcraft server saying all of the paintings have now been added to the resource pack, which means if I do some fancy bits and pieces with the stone cutter, yes, this looks promising. This looks promising. This looks correct. Good. If I do some fancy bits and pieces with the stone cutter, I can get a custom picture. I mean, do I do my own? That seems like a good place to start. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. Where should I put it? I want somewhere good to put it first. Wow, this is cool. This is really cool. Wow, I seriously don't have a flat surface to put this thing on. I would say this is good. Oh, that's so cool. Oh, that's so cool. This is my first time seeing it in Minecraft. Oh my goodness, that is so cool. Oh my goodness, I'm so happy with that. I actually can't believe I built that. Ah. Well, it was fleeting. I hope you enjoyed this Hermitcraft episode, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.